Good evening and welcome to Source 16 News at 10. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tammy Hancock. Near this hour, the Christian County Board of Education held a special called meeting tonight to evaluate Superintendent Brady Link's annual performance. According to Board Chairman Barry Cornelius, Link's performance is above average.
He was evaluated on leadership and district culture, policy and governance, communications and community relations, organizational management, curriculum planning and development, instructional leadership, human resources management, values and ethics of leadership, student achievement and learning.
Following his nearly 2-hour evaluation, Link talked about his plans to improve the school district.
I would like to see, we have 9 of our schools now that are above the state average. I would love to see all 15 of our schools above the state average. We've made progress. We had 4 when I came here above the state average, and now we have 9. But student achievement is what superintendents should be, evaluated on, and I really think that that's our #1 goal. Is we want to see that every student in Christian County has the ability to do what they want to do when they graduate.
The board presented Link's evaluation after going into closed session for preliminary discussions about his performance. A wreck involving 2 ATVs in Trigg County last night claimed the life of a Cadiz woman and seriously injured one of the drivers. According to Kentucky State Police, 29-year-old Lisa Williams of Cadiz was pronounced dead on the scene of the crash around 5:45. State police say the fatal crash occurred around the 6500 block of Linton Road near the Linton Volunteer Fire Department when an ATV driven by 22-year-old Ronald Smith stopped to make a left-hand turn, and an ATV driven by 23-year-old Benjamin Papajeski of Cadiz could not stop in time and struck the back of Smith's ATV. Papajeski and his passenger Williams were both ejected from the ATV. Papajeski was treated on the scene by the Trigg County Ambulance and later airlifted to Vanderbilt Hospital in Nashville, where he is listed in stable condition in the trauma unit at this hour. Police say Smith was treated at the scene and refused transport, but was later taken by private vehicle to Trigg County Hospital for treatment of minor injuries. According to state police, none of the riders were wearing a helmet. Well, a former elected Trigg County attorney has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for his role in a multi-million-dollar investment scam. According to reports, the retired military attorney, 67-year-old Kenneth Kennedy of Clarksville and formerly of Cadiz, was sentenced by a U.S. District Court judge in Nashville recently after he was convicted in October 2010 of 3 counts of wire fraud and 5 counts of mail fraud. Millions of dollars in losses were reported by over 50 people who were scammed by Kennedy and allegedly his wife, Sheila Kennedy, and Bob and Ann Scarborough of Hopkinsville. In addition to his sentence, court records indicate the judge ordered Kennedy to pay restitution to his victims and to remain on supervised release for 3 years following his release from prison. The Kennedys and Scarboroughs are scheduled to stand trial on similar charges in Christian Circuit Court in October. A local county judge executive has been selected to MC the 131st annual Fancy Farm Political Picnic in August. Longtime Marshall County Judge Executive Mike Miller, a Democrat who has served as county judge since 1974, was selected to MC the Fancy Farm Political Picnic that unofficially kicks off this fall's campaigns for governor and other state offices. The lineup will include Kentucky's 2 U.S. Senators, Republicans Mitch McConnell of Louisville and Rand Paul from Bowling Green, 1st District Congressman Ed Whitfield of Hopkinsville, Democratic Governor Steve Beshear, who was seeking re-election, and his running mate, former Louisville Mayor Jerry Abramson, as well as Republican nominee for governor, State Senate President David Williams, and his running mate, State Agriculture Commissioner Richie Farmer. In addition, all candidates for state constitutional offices have been invited to speak. The Fancy Farm Picnic will be held Saturday, August 6th, with public speaking to get underway at 2. Callaway County Middle School has a new principal. Amy Turner, who has served the past 3 years as assistant principal at the middle school, has been selected by the school-based decision-making council to serve as principal. Turner says in a release that she is excited to begin her new duties and will begin working immediately with the SBDM council to hire a new assistant principal. Turner replaces Tanya Hunter, who was named to a new Callaway County District position to coordinate the implementation of Senate Bill 1. Well, Fairview residents are taking a stand when it comes to the possible closure of their only post office. Last night during a public meeting at Bethel Baptist Church, a post office employee spoke to a crowd of nearly 100 people about the possible closure.
Because of the historical importance of the Jefferson Davis Monument, we are trying to work and work out something. So that this being here does benefit this community and what we're trying to do. But in smaller communities like this, and a lot of them, they're just asking people to put up boxes on the ground. So that does benefit the community.
For nearly 2 hours, residents had the opportunity to talk and voice their concerns and frustrations.
If y'all have one central postmaster in the county, and you take the lower ones, because somebody's going to lose a job, say they're less qualified, but they can still run the post office, and they're at a less rate, wouldn't that help more the postal service, and instead of just trying to remove it?
Meanwhile, local elected officials also attended the meeting and expressed their support in keeping the 200-year-old post office open.
These post offices, especially in these rural communities, it's one of the key locations where so much activity goes on. So that's one of the reasons I want to be here, to show my support and try doing everything I can to help them be able to keep the post office open.
Well, it's important to the people in my district. I've got lots of people in my district that depend on this post office. We've got elderly people in this area that depend on this post office. It's been here for a long time, and I really think it needs to stay.
Residents are being urged to contact Congressman Ed Whitfield about keeping the post office open. 2 of 3 lawsuits filed against the Christian County Board of Education have been transferred from Christian County Circuit Court to a federal courthouse in Paducah. School Board Attorney Jack Lackey Jr. told Source16 today the 2 lawsuits were federal civil rights claims that state-level judges typically do not handle, unlike federal judges. Lackey says one of the lawsuits involved a May 2010 incident where a Belmont Elementary School student was allegedly hurt during a fight on a bus. He adds the other lawsuit involves a November 2010 incident where a Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School student was allegedly inappropriately touched by another child on the school bus. According to Lackey, a district internal investigation revealed no negligence against both bus drivers. In addition to the 3 lawsuits against the Christian County Board of Education, another federal lawsuit is pending against the school district. Lackey says the lawsuit was filed in federal court over a year ago and involves former Crofton Elementary School teacher Lynn Gibson, who claims her contract was not renewed at the end of the 2008-09 school year because of a physical disability. Christian County Fiscal Court approved several road department bids and adopted an early prevention program for minors during this morning's regular meeting. Magistrates approved 75 low bids for petroleum, road materials and concrete culverts, tires, road tiles, and salts. Meanwhile, magistrates adopted a resolution for a Title V Community Delinquency Prevention Grant Program worth up to $60,000.
The importance of this grant is we've chosen to do what we call the Right Path program. We've entitled what we'll be applying for through it. It is very important for this community as far as this will be an early intervention for the juveniles. We are trying to prevent them, give them a ways and a means out of being put in front of the justice system.
Fiscal Court also approved a Rough Park tennis court lighting bid worth over $73,000 from Casey Mill Supply. In other action, Fiscal Court recommended to hire Ronald Johnson and Associates, PSC, of Madisonville for the Penneral Trailhead project.
Penneral Trailhead projects are actually 2 different projects. We have an equestrian trailhead project and we have a mountain bike trailhead project. The equestrian and mountain bike both consist of where these individuals that do these extracurricular activities are able to come in and have an area where they're able to pull their vehicles in, their trailers in, and unload their equipment.
Magistrates also approved an animal shelter service contract for Caldwell, Trigg, and Todd counties for $500 each per month. In other business, Fiscal Court approved an ordinance in its first reading to reaffirm fee collections at the Christian County Justice Center. The next Fiscal Court meeting is scheduled for July 12th at 8:30 that morning. Police are looking for the man who robbed a bank in Clarksville this morning. Around 10:12, Clarksville police reported an unknown male walked into Heritage Bank at 3845 Trenton Road, handed the teller a note demanding money, and was then given an undisclosed amount of money. The robber, who police say did not display a gun, then fled the bank on foot. Police say the suspect has a unique facial shape which may be easily recognizable. He is a white male, about 5'3" to 5'6" tall, thin build, was wearing sunglasses, blue jeans, a black long sleeve shirt, black ball cap with 5950 hat logo on the bill, and a blue New York Yankees logo on the cap. Anyone with information is asked to call police at 931-645-8477. Well, a July hearing date has been set for a judge to consider a trial date request made by Richie Farmer's wife, Rebecca, who is seeking a divorce from the state agriculture commissioner. According to reports out of Frankfort, the judge scheduled a July 12th hearing to consider Rebecca Farmer's motion for a trial date. The 35-year-old filed for divorce back in April after being married to the former University of Kentucky basketball standout and current ag commissioner for 13 years. Richie Farmer is currently running for lieutenant governor on Republican Senate President David Williams' ticket for governor. Former Kentucky gubernatorial candidate Steve Nunn has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole after he entered a guilty plea this morning in connection to the 2009 death of his former fiancée. According to reports, 58-year-old Nunn was set to stand trial in August in the death of 29-year-old Amanda Ross of Lexington, but he entered a guilty plea this morning in Fayette Circuit Court to intentional murder with aggravating circumstances. The judge waived formal sentencing and sentenced Nunn to life in prison without the possibility of parole, but he could have been sentenced to death if he had been convicted of the murder. In addition, he pled guilty to violating an emergency protective order or domestic violence order and was given a 12-month sentence. Nunn's attorney asked that his client be sent to the Kentucky State Reformatory at LaGrange right away due to minor medical problems that needed to be addressed. Nunn reportedly acknowledged in court for the first time that he shot and killed Ross on September 11, 2009 outside her townhouse in downtown Lexington. Nunn is the son of former Kentucky Governor Louis B. Nunn, and he's still facing 6 counts of wanton endangerment in Hart County after he allegedly fired a gun in the air at police officers at a Barron County cemetery several hours after Ross's shooting.